All right, what's going on, everybody? Robbie here. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope your week is starting off on the right foot. And hopefully things are going your way today. So, welcome to another edition of the 8-week live masterclass. And we are getting to the home stretch now. I can see the finish line in front of us here, which is crazy because it feels like we just got started on this, and here we are in week number 7, which is unbelievable. So really excited to be here with you guys once again. Before we get into it, just let me know in the question box if you can hear me just fine. And if you are excited for today's masterclass. I know I'm excited. Actually, I've been really looking forward to these every single week we do them. Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do when we're done. I think I might be a little bit sad, to be honest with you. But excited that we can spend some time together again this week. Let's see here. So I got Gary, Don, Mark, Clifford, Warren, Ross. Okay, perfect. Awesome. And Don says you can see the screen. Perfect. David can hear us as well. Great. Anne Marie is here as well. Awesome. We got a lot of people on, which is good. Carson is listening from Germany. Very, very cool. Awesome, guys. Well, today we got a lot to cover as well. So hopefully, did you guys do your homework? Let me know in the question box if you guys did your homework last week or leading up to. Maybe you started it this morning. You know, when I was in school, that was typically what I would do. If the deadline was, on Monday, I would do it at Sunday night. But nothing wrong as long as you get it done, right? Awesome, cool. Yeah, a lot of people are saying they launched, which is great. Awesome, guys. Cool. Well, we also got in the background the dynamic duo. Matt and Grant are here as well. I know they're excited to go over all the stuff today, which should be good to go. So, Grant, Matt, you guys here?
Yeah, what's going on, Robbie? Grant here. Hope you guys can hear me okay.
Hey, Robbie,
Awesome.
Matt here.
Awesome, guys. How was the weekend?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Had a lot of homework to do as well. Got all my homework done. So, yeah, actually, same with me though. In school, I would always do it the night before. Except, guys, this homework's different because your schoolwork didn't make you money, and this homework does.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I did homework on the bus, and I definitely do this kind of homework on the bus. So
Yeah.
I can see Matt on the bus, writing down those quail recipes. And
Quail recipe.
getting ready to go. That's awesome. Well, good. Yeah, that's awesome. I see a lot of people saying, a couple people saying that they're behind in their homework and everything. And here's the thing, guys. Like, you're not behind, right? Just keep in mind, like, we're doing this whole 8-week masterclass, and this is paced out over 8 weeks. But listen, I get it. Life happens sometimes. Sometimes you get something comes up. I get it, right? So don't ever feel like you're behind, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we're all running our own race. Like, the pace that I get things done is different than the pace that Grant does, different than the pace that Matt does, and everybody in here, right? So never feel like you're behind, right? You're right where you're supposed to be, okay? So just really kind of keep that in mind, and that should kind of keep you motivated the entire time. Never feel like you're playing catch up or behind, because we're all in this together, right? We're all in our own journey, but we're in this together for sure. And as Josh says, in Quail we trust. I love that. That's awesome. I think we started something here, which is cool. But well, great. Well, great, Matt. You guys ready to rock and roll? And I'll go ahead and make sure I'm muted here on my end. I'll be answering questions in the background, and we'll get into it.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, guys, we are super pumped today. Man, it is week 7. I can't believe it. We have this week, and then Matt, we have one more week. I mean, wow, I feel like we were just starting yesterday. It's pretty crazy.
I know. We're coming up to the end here, but these last 2 weeks are super important. This is really what's going to set you guys up for success in the future, right? So now that we have campaigns live, we can dive into this week. Super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, this week, honestly, the next 2 weeks are, as Matt said, they're really important. And the reason why is because these are the weeks where we're going to really be diving into data. Right? Data is, when you think of data and numbers, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. But like, this is the type of data and the numbers where you want to get excited, you want to get obsessed with, because the better you are at analyzing these numbers, and the more that you're able to sort of read the data, quantify it. I mean, this is where you can really maximize your results and honestly stand out from the crowd. So we're excited for today, guys, because Matt and I, along our journey, just really took our data seriously. And so we have a great training for you this week about data and KPIs and things like that. And the cool thing is we've broken it out so that, hey, if you're actually really good with numbers and you feel like you're above average on the number side of things and math and stuff like that and data, then that's good. But at the same time, like if you feel like you're not so great with data and numbers scare you, or you don't feel like it's your strong suit, well, that's okay too, because Matt and I have really made this simple for you so that you can have a really easy understanding of what to look for on your ads and how to go from there. So Matt, if you're all ready, we can jump in and get this rolling.
I'm ready. Let's get it started.
Let's do it. So yeah, guys, let's quickly, you guys know the deal. We go over, sort of what we covered last week. So if anybody missed last week, this is what we went over. I'm sure you'll be watching the replay, but we officially launched our first conversion ad, right? It was a huge milestone, big deal. We set up, our tracking, went through audiences, launched the campaign step by step. And of course, as Robbie already said, did you guys do your homework? Put a 1 in the questions box right now. We better see everybody. Put a 1 in there if you did your homework, okay? If you did your homework from last week, we want to see some 1s in the questions box, all right? So you were supposed to set up your tracking if you wanted to use Cometly, and we gave you guys an awesome deal, cometly.com/8week. You should have created your audiences, lookalike and interests. You should have planned out your campaign structure, and then you should have, the big one was launch your first campaign. So Matt, it looks like we're getting a lot of 1s in the question box, which is good.
Great, let's go to the next slide there. It looks like we're just stuck on that first slide on your screen.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Give me a sec here. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, so there's what we covered last week. Okay, last week's homework. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then, so yeah, guys, set up your tracking, cometly.com/8week, the audiences, the campaign structure, and then launching the conversion campaign. So a couple of people saying not finished, and like Robbie said, no worries at all. Everybody run their own race, go at your own time, period. That's why we record these, so you guys have them forever. So yeah, week 7, data analyzation and reviewing KPIs, key performance indicators. This is where we get into the numbers and honestly the exciting stuff. Matt and I are, I would consider us data nerds. We love data. And the reason why is because when we take our data seriously, that's where we know we can maximize our results and make more money. So yeah, Matt, let's go ahead and tell them what we're going to cover this call.
Let's do it. All right, guys, week 7. First thing is reviewing the key metrics and benchmark KPIs. All right, so that's where we're really going to take a look at what really, there's all these different numbers. Which ones are the most important? Which ones are we looking for? And which metrics are we making decisions off of on the ads? Secondly, setting up your Facebook ads manager to review important metrics. So how you're configuring the columns, right? So all the columns to read the data in Ads Manager. Most of you guys, if you launched your campaign, you're probably familiar with this. It's where it shows your amount spent, your clicks, your CTR, all of that, right? So we're going to show you the best way to configure your Ads Manager for those important metrics. And then third is reviewing metrics inside Cometly. So if you guys did set up a Cometly account, we're going to show you how to use Cometly so you can make decisions off of net profit, ROI, and you're really just going to be putting your money using Cometly into ads and ad sets that are performing the best and are producing back profits, right? So yeah, let's dive into it. Let's go to the first one and let's review of the key metrics and benchmark KPIs. Let's get started.
Awesome, good stuff. So yeah, guys, like Matt said, the first thing we're going to do is review the key metrics and benchmark KPIs, okay? So as you see on the screen here, we wrote out, this is really important. There are a ton of data points when it comes to managing ads. It's important to focus on the right ones, guys, right? So when it comes to Facebook ads, I mean, if it's your first time in the Ads Manager or the first time looking at data, you're probably overwhelmed. You're probably like, oh my God, which ones do I look at? What matters? What doesn't matter? And there's a lot of things, okay? And so through this training today, we're really going to clarify the things that you should look at. One, what's important to look at, and then two, okay, cool, now I'm looking at this metric and it says this, is it good or is it bad, right? And so we're gonna quantify each of those benchmarks. Are you inside the benchmark where you wanna be, or are you outside, okay? So when it comes to key Facebook metrics, these are the most important metrics on Facebook that we look at, right? That Robbie looks at, that Matt looks at, and that myself look at. And the first one being up here is the cost per link click. Okay, so the cost per link click is really, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's how much you're paying per link click. Okay, so you spend $10 and you have 10 clicks on your ads, then you have $1 cost per click. Okay, so it's costing you $1 cost per click. Okay. Second one is the click-through rate on the link. Okay, so there's a link CTR, and that is basically what how many people see your ad, and then how many people actually end up clicking the link on your ad. Okay, so there's a sort of just a percentage there. This is a CTR is a percentage. How many people look at it, and versus how many people actually decide to click your link and go to your landing page, which you guys already have set up. The third one is the click-through rate all. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what's the difference between the click-through rate link and the click-through rate all? Well, the click-through rate all is same type of formula. It just includes all clicks on your ad. So if somebody not only clicks the link on your ad, but they also click the comment section, or they click the copy, or they click the like button on your ad. So that really kind of takes into account all the engagement that's happening, right? So it really gives us a good display and a good idea of like, all right, like what's the overall engagement factor on our ad? Like how is it engaging with our audience? Okay. The next one is the landing page CTR. So once again, CTR is click-through rate, means this is a percentage of people that basically clicked our, went to our landing page, okay? So they're on the landing page, and the percentage of people that went through it, right? So the landing page is something that is, when someone clicks your Facebook ad, they go to the lander, as you guys know, and then if they continue on through the landing page, they go to the offer, right? They go to the hop link, okay? And so the landing page CTR is calculated by your hops divided by how many people actually went to your lander, your link clicks. Okay, and so that's where you can get a good benchmark idea there. And then the other one is the cost per purchase, right? So how much is it costing us in dollars to actually get someone to buy? For example, if you have if you spend $100 and you have 2 purchases, then your cost per result, your cost per purchase would be $50, right? Very simple. And so, I mean, Matt, for the most part, like, these benchmark KPIs that, we just put on the screen, like they can fluctuate up and down, but for the most part, I'd say that you and I pretty much live and die by these metrics, or benchmarks per se here. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and here's the thing, like these are recommended benchmarks, right? At the end of the day, though, it really just all comes back to, like if the ad set's actually getting sales, right? So, I mean, there's some cases, even if you're just using Ads Manager to track your sales, and the cost per click is $1.70, right? But it had 2-3 sales in the first 2 days of launching. You're not going to turn it off just because the cost per click is out of benchmark, right? So I think like initially you want to make sure, like, yes, if something's not working, you want to look at this. If it's not getting sales, you want to look at these benchmarks and then, try to make improvements off of these benchmarks, right? So compare your ads to these benchmarks. But at the end of the day, my point is that, if your ad set is getting sales and your CTR link is 2-3%, but it still is consistently getting sales, you don't want to turn that off, right? So yes, these are benchmarks that we live by, as well as net profit, all of that. So absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so guys, when you look at these, when you launch your ads, and for people that have launched their ads, they can look right now and you can go ahead and look and see, like, okay, your cost per link click, right? The cost per link click, CPC, is yours less than $1, right? We have 50 cents here. That's usually kind of what we look for, but ideally we'd like this to be less than $1. So you can look at yours and see, are you in KPI or are you outside of it? Are you within it, which you're $1 or less, or are you above it and outside the KPI, which would be more than $1? Okay. If you're in the KPI, then your ad's looking pretty good. If it's outside of it, then you need to reevaluate the ad. But as Matt said, like the number one thing is like if you're getting sales and you are outside of KPI in one of these areas, yeah, we don't really care, right? We just care about sales. We care about that ROI. When it comes to the click-through rate on the link, we look for something that is greater than 6%. And guys, there's a theme here you'll notice, right? Anytime we're talking about a metric that's cost related, cost per link click, lower is better, right? Spending lower is better. So less than $1 is good. So less than, right? But if we're talking about a click-through rate, right, a percentage, we want it to be higher. Okay, so click-through rate, we're looking for on the link side it to be greater than 6%. That's really the sweet spot we found. When it comes to click-through rate all, CTR all, that's where we're looking for something greater than 10 to 15% on our ads. On the landing page CTR, the landing page conversion rate, we're looking for somewhere in the midst of 40 to 60%. And then on the cost per purchase, we're really looking for something in the $40 to $60. But there's a huge asterisk here. It really depends on the offer, right? Depends on the product, because if you're advertising a product that the average order value is like $30 or $40, you're going to want a cost per purchase less than that. Okay, but ideally it's great if you can shoot for a cost per purchase. Like, for example, if the average order value of the product you're promoting, which you can see right on ClickBank or using Robbie's tools, see the average order value is like $100. If your cost per purchase is like $100 or less than that, then that's great, because you break even on the initial sale, and then you're profiting on the upsells. So that's really good to look at. Okay.
Great point.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Matt, I think you touched a great point though. Like, guys, these are just sort of the Facebook metrics, right? These are the KPIs. We're about to dive into all of the KPIs when we're jumping into Cometly, so we can kind of give you the big picture of all the KPIs, all the important metrics, and what to look for. But right now, what we'll do is, for those that are not using Cometly, which is totally fine, we're going to go ahead and do the next step, which is we're going to help you set up your Facebook Ads Manager so that you can review these important metrics, and you don't really have to go like fishing around and trying to find them and digging them out. So, Matt, did you have anything to add, or are we good to move forward?
Yeah, I just wanted to go over a couple of questions before we move on.
Okay.
Right here. So when is it ideal to look at numbers after 3 to 4 days of running? And somebody else said, how long do you run ads before deciding to continue or not? So guys, typically what you want to do is want to run your campaigns for 3 days. So give them full 3 days of gathering data. And you don't want to make any decisions. You want to give them a full 3 days. And it makes sense too, because if your ad sets are at $25, right? And your average order value is let's say for a product it's 120, right? Well, if it doesn't get a sale in those 3 days and you spent $75 on that ad set, you're going to turn that off, right? So you want to give it 3 days, and then you make your decisions every 48 hours. That's what Grant and I do. Every 48 hours, we'll look at the ads and we'll make decisions, whether we scale up the budget, we keep the budget where it's at because it's working, or we scale down, or we turn it off, right? So we'll get more into that, but yeah, that's a good question. Let's see here. What's your next step if all your numbers are good but you have no sales? Well, yep, if you go 3 full days and your campaigns, your numbers look good but there's no sales, turn them off and relaunch a campaign. All right, so that's for all new campaigns, that's the process.
Yep.
3 days, and then make decisions from there every 48 hours thereafter. How do you factor in refunds and chargebacks when you start promoting a new product? Do you assume rate of 10%, 20? It's usually about 10%. And if you are using Cometly, you can track refunds, but we'll get to that. Cool. All right, Grant. Yeah, just wanted to get caught up on a couple questions. This is good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good stuff there, guys. Good questions. And obviously, as always, we'll stop each section, but if you have any big questions, we can definitely tackle those at the end for sure too. Okay, so yeah, guys. So the next thing, once again, we kind of reviewed, in the last little part there, really what the main, some of the main Facebook KPIs are, and really what you want to make sure you keep your eyes on. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show you how to actually, set those up. So what we'll do now is we're going to dive into the Ads Manager, and we'll jump into the ad account and show you how to set up those metrics. Okay, so let's go over to our actual Business Manager here. Okay, and I'm going to go into my ad account. Okay, and you'll have to do this per ad account. So if you are running on different ad accounts, you'll have to configure these columns for each ad account. Okay, so what we're talking about, guys, is when you come in here, you'll see like there's all these different columns, right? budget, results, reach, impressions, cost per result, amount spent. And, you know, even we have these different reports here, okay? And if I select like performance and clicks, you know, we scroll over, we'll see all these different sort of metrics here for, you know, cost per, you know, 1,000 impressions, link clicks, right? And so there's so many different things, right? There's just, you know, we can literally go through all these reports and there's just so many different things. And so what we like to do and what Robbie teaches and really, really recommends and Matt and I do as well is customize these columns, okay? And so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and click customize columns, okay? And then here, we're gonna go ahead and you can see on the right side, you can sort of, you know, basically exit out or, you know, cancel all of these. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, okay? Let's go ahead and just start fresh, okay? And we're gonna start with the campaign name, right? And so that just stays there. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and add these in the following order, okay? So we're gonna go with delivery. So that's gonna tell you if your ad is like on or off, okay? So we're gonna add delivery there. The next one we're going to do is budget, okay? Then we'll do amount spent, okay? And then we'll do results, all right? And then we will do cost per result, which is actually right there as well, okay? And you can see when I click them, that's adding them, so I'm building a custom report with just the metrics that matter most. And then we'll do CTR link. So I type in CTR and then we get link click-through rate. We'll select that one. And then we'll also select CTR all next. So we have those now. Then we will add links, link clicks right there, boom. And then we will add cost per link click, there it is, select that. Cool, so yeah, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think roughly 10 of these, right? Now this is super important. At the bottom, go save as preset, and then we can just do, you know, we'll do data report, okay? You can call it like data report, that's fine, or if you want to name it something else, whatever you'd like, and then you hit apply. All right, so now what's awesome, guys, is when we hit this drop down, okay, you can see it's on here now, right? So every time you come into your ads manager, right? So when you come into your ads manager, it's always going to default to this performance and these columns like this. And now that we save that, when we hit the drop down, all the way at the bottom, we'll now see this data report. And when I click it, it brings in all of these awesome columns, okay? And once again, like with all of these different metrics and, you know, Facebook giving us all these different options, it's really important that we don't lose our focus on what matters most, okay? And that's why these matters, these numbers matter most in our ads manager, and that's really what we want to focus on, okay? Are these data points. Okay, so when you go ahead and get this set up in Facebook, you will have this report, and then you'll be able to sort of analyze your results on a campaign basis, ad set basis, and even ad basis with these data reports, analyzing your numbers and really being able to just navigate in a really efficient way. Because, I mean, Matt, you know, I mean, one of the biggest problems when it comes to data is just making sure that things are organized so that you can actually look at it, right? And I feel like most of the time when people are, oh, help me with my ads, or can you take a look at this, and the report's all over the place, or we can't even see the right numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, organization is key. I know we covered that last week when we were talking about it. You know, stressing it again is super important, because now you can see, you know, if everything's all over the place and it's not organized, you know, you can't really make good decisions, right? I mean, it's like you'll have an idea, but it's just not organized. You're not going to actually know what's working, what's not. So this is really the first part, is, you know, organizing your campaign architecture correctly. That way, when you are analyzing data, it's so much easier for you guys. And this is great too, because, you know, every time, you know, for every ad account, you will have to configure the columns, but it takes a second and will eventually become second nature the more ad accounts that you're running. And I think that, you know, using these data points right here is really, if you are just using Ads Manager, you're not using a tracking tool, you should be okay. And you will be able to see what's getting conversion and what's not. So yeah, absolutely. This is by far like one of the most important things that we discovered early on and learned from Robbie. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then the other thing, guys, is like, you know, I really don't encourage this off the bat, but, you know, this is really what you want to do, right? The data report, but then, you can experiment, like, with the performance and clicks and looking at different, types of metrics that, we didn't necessarily, have on our data report. But I really encourage you just to start with these metrics that are on the data report, because this is really the important stuff. And then as you advance your knowledge and as you become more of an expert with, analyzing the ad results and knowing what all these different metrics mean, that will really, sort of help you expand your data analysis. Okay. And the cool thing about the ads manager too is this, if you ever just like hover your mouse over it, it'll tell you exactly what, the actual metrics are, right? So CTR, all the percentage of times people saw your ad and performed a click, right? So they help you with these. If you ever have any questions about what a metric is or how it's calculated, you guys can always just go there. Okay. So yeah, that's super important. Okay. Cool. So
yep, go ahead.
No, so I was just gonna say, so now we'll do, guys, is we'll move on to reviewing metrics inside Cometly. So for those of you that have set up a Cometly account, we'll kind of go through how to review metrics inside Cometly. And there are definitely more metrics and sort of KPIs that you'll get inside Cometly that you wouldn't otherwise get inside of like the ads manager. And we'll kind of go through those and sort of talk about the benchmark KPIs as well in there. Okay, so let's go ahead over to Cometly. Okay. And so this is a Cometly demo account that we set up for you guys just to sort of take through the training here. And we have some, good data in here to work with. But where we're going to navigate over to is we're going to go ahead over to the ad accounts, and we're going to go into this ad account here. Okay. And as you guys know, for those of you that have Cometly, it looks very similar to the Facebook Ads Manager, right? So it's very easy to navigate. Now, the biggest difference, guys, when it comes to Cometly, and we'll kind of go back and forth on, the different, the different types of metrics, but the biggest difference, guys, between Cometly and the Ads Manager on Facebook is, like for example, landing page CTR, right? What is this calculation? Well, this is your ClickBank hops. So how many hops took place divided by your link clicks, right? And so when you think about that, the hops is a metric that takes place away from Facebook. Facebook has no idea how many hops your ad gets, right? So that's a ClickBank metric. But Facebook is also, telling us link clicks, and that's a Facebook metric. And so you'll never be able to find, your landing page CTR on Facebook because they only have one of the metrics that goes into the calculation, link clicks, okay? But they don't have hops. And so where Cometly's powerful is it pulls in your hops, it pulls in all of your ClickBank data, and then also it pulls in your Facebook data so that we can display all of the metrics that really matter. Okay, so landing page CTR, of course, is the amount of times that people went to your landing page and then click through your destination page, right? And so once again, like on this actual ad campaign, you can see we have a really, really high landing page CTR, 69.1%, 74.85%, okay? Now, this is the default report that is on your Cometly account, okay, guys? So these are just based on, Matt and I's experience and also talking with Robbie. These are the, when you have access to all the metrics, these are the most important metrics for a default report, right? How much do we spend, the impressions, the landing page CTR, how many hops do we get, destination visits, okay? How many order form impressions do we get, like how many people actually went to the order form, and then how many purchases we got, what was our cost per sale, our cost per initial purchase, how much do we have to spend to make the sale, what was our gross revenue, how many refunds do we have, what was our net profit, and our ROI, right? And so that's the other big advantage when you're using a tracking tool, whether it's Cometly or something else, is you get to see this revenue number, the net profit, the return on investment, right? You can configure that in the ads manager. It takes a little bit of extra work, but also the problem is Facebook's usually not so accurate when it comes to that attribution, okay? So that's super important, okay? And so once again, we already did go over sort of the landing page metric, right? But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go up to our reporting columns, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and click Facebook, okay? And now what this does is this brings for our two ad sets here, okay? This brings in all of the Facebook metrics, all of the metrics that take place on Facebook, amount spent, impressions, our CPMs, the link clicks, the clicks all, our cost per link click. Okay, so you guys can see here on our cost per link click, if you guys remember, we usually like it to be what, under $1, right? So we're a little bit outside of that benchmark KPI. Okay, so we're at $1.14 on this ad set, and we're at $1.18 on this ad set. So what we need to do is sort of really take a second look at these two ad sets, right? Say, we're outside of KPI on this, and so the first thing we'll do is we'll go over, or not over, because on this report it does. We'll go back to the default, and we'll say, okay, wow, all right, so this ad set here, we're outside of KPI, but our net profit's minus 110, but on this one, our cost per link click is $1.18, guys, but our net profit's $556. So we'd be crazy to even change anything about this, right? And so that's the way that Matt and I really analyze our numbers. We look at the sort of metrics that sort of they matter secondary, and then if they're outside of the benchmark, okay, so this is $1.18, we'll make sure okay, the ROI is $500, right? And so we're not going to touch that. Okay.
Exactly. And something important really to mention here, Grant, if you go to columns, you go to profit and loss for me real quick. I just want to make a point about looking at your numbers over a certain date range, right? So when you isolate down your active ad sets that you're running, and you can go to your date range, and you can go and you can look at the last 3 days performance, the last 5 days performance, the last 7 days performance. So Grant, you don't have to do that. I just wanted to show them the date range so you can see exactly like how that works. And you can actually see, like if you go if you select the last 4 days, you'll see exactly how the ad sets are doing and so forth. So, but yeah, like you can see here, over the last 4 days here, it's at 145% profit. Over the last 7 days, it was 257, right? So or 275. So you can see okay, it's trending in that direction. It's going a little down. It still is getting sales, but it is producing profits, right? And you're going to start seeing these things, changing, maybe going down or going up. So, another thing too is when you get ads live and you start using a tool like this and you look at your net profit and your ROI percentage, you'll see different trends, and you'll be able to, say, oh wow, okay, over the last 7 days, it's performing better than the previous 7 days. Right? Yeah. So I'm going to keep these running. I'm going to keep these budgets on. That's the whole point, guys. So, really looking at, your net profit over, different date ranges is how you can see the trend. And that there will be trend features too in the future. You can see different trend levels, how it's performing. Is it trending up? Is it trending down? So exactly. Cool.
Yeah, totally. And then the other thing too, we're in the ads manager part of things, guys, but if we go to the daily breakdown report, this really helps us understand, just from a day-by-day basis, how we're doing, right? So overall, we have a $500, 502, profit on these campaigns, right? But we can look in here and it's oh wow, we're profitable. We've only had 3 really good days, which is okay, right? All of our red days are small minus red days, right? So we're not there's not a ton of bleeding out, but our green days are huge, right? Spending $60 and making 343, spending 60 making 400, spending 70 making 300. So this really helps you. It's if you don't get a sale one day, you're not oh man, what the heck's going on here? It's oh well, let's zoom out here and look at the big picture. We spent $600-700 and we made 11. Things are looking okay, right? And so we don't freak out, and this really helps you just keep yourself in check in regards to just your overall P&L, right? So that's a good thing there. But yeah, let's jump back into the ad account here, because I do want to go through each of these sort of KPIs here in terms of the actual benchmark. So let's go ahead and just do delivery active. So we're just looking at these 2 active ones. And then what we'll do is we'll go through, we already went through the Facebook situation. We looked at